Find somewhere comfortable. You don't need to sit up straight or hold anything in your mind. You don't need to follow every word or remember any of it. Just let the sound of this arrive softly, the way light comes through a curtain, not demanding anything, simply present. If you want to close your eyes, close them. If you're already lying down, let your body sink a little deeper into wherever you are. The day is behind you now. Whatever it held, whatever you carried through it, you don't have to carry it in quite the same way tonight. We're going to spend some time together with something that is, for many people, the heaviest thing a human being can hold. We're going to talk about grief. Not in a way that asks anything of you, not in a way that instructs or fixes or ties things neatly, just gently, honestly, with care. And if this is something you're living with right now, if tonight is one of those nights where the quiet feels too loud and the bed feels too wide and the world feels like it's continuing on without your permission, then this is for you. Especially for you. We're in no hurry tonight. There is something that happens when you lose someone, something that is so much larger than the word we use for it. Grief. 4 letters, 1 syllable. A word that gets passed around in sympathy cards and spoken in hushed voices at funerals, and yet it contains within it an entire universe of experience. It contains the moment you reach for your phone to call someone and then remember. It contains the smell of a coat that still hangs by the door. It contains the strange, almost guilty relief of a good day, and then the wave that follows when you realize you had a good day without them. It is not a single thing. It never was. And perhaps one of the most quietly painful parts of grief is how alone it can make you feel. Not because others don't care, but because the shape of your particular loss is yours alone. No one else loved exactly who you loved, in exactly the way you loved them, across exactly the years you shared. No one else will feel the specific absence that you feel when you walk into a particular room, or hear a particular song, or catch a particular scent on the evening air. You are grieving something that no one else can fully see. And yet, and this is something worth holding gently, grief is also one of the most ancient and universal things a human being can experience. Every culture across all of recorded history has had to find a way to live with it. Every generation before yours has lain awake in the dark, exactly as you might be lying awake now, trying to understand how the world can simply keep going when something so enormous has been taken from it. You are not alone in this. Even when it feels that way most deeply, you are not alone. Tonight, we're going to sit with grief. Not to solve it. It cannot be solved, not to rush through it, it will not be rushed, but simply to understand it a little more. To see what it actually is and what it does to us and why. Because sometimes understanding the shape of something makes it just slightly less frightening to hold. For a long time, the people who studied grief did so with a kind of clinical distance. They built models and stages and frameworks, ways of making something vast and shapeless feel containable. The most famous of these, of course, is the one you've probably heard of. 5 stages. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross introduced them in 1969 in a book called On Death and Dying, and they spread through the world with remarkable speed, appearing in textbooks and counseling rooms and television dramas, becoming the unofficial language of loss for generations of people. But here is something worth knowing, something that might actually bring you a little relief. Kubler. Ross herself, in her later years, was careful to say that these stages were never meant to be a map. They were observations, tendencies, patterns she noticed in the people she sat with, not a prescription for how grief is supposed to go. Grief does not move in a straight line. It does not arrive in an orderly sequence, tick through its stages like a checklist, and then leave you standing on the other side, healed and restored. It is far more like weather than a journey. It can be still for days and then arrive without warning in the middle of a supermarket when you see a brand of biscuits they used to love. It can ease and then intensify. It can feel finished and then begin again. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. This is simply what grief is. The word itself comes from the old French word grève, meaning to burden, to oppress. And that is, in a very physical sense, exactly what it does. Grief is not merely an emotion. It is not simply sadness wearing a different coat. It is a full-body experience. A whole person response to the rupture of something that was woven deeply into the fabric of who you are. When we love someone, we do not love them only in our hearts. We love them in our habits, in our daily rhythms, in the way we move through the world. We love them in the route we take home, in the side of the bed we sleep on, in the way we tell stories. We love them in the future. We had quietly assumed. The holidays not yet taken, the conversations not yet had, the ordinary Tuesday evenings that stretched forward, uncounted, into years. When that person is gone, all of those things are disrupted at once. Not just the feeling of them, but the entire structure of daily life that they were quietly holding up. This is why grief can feel so disorienting. It is not only that you miss someone, though you do profoundly, in ways that can be almost impossible to put into words. It is that the world has changed shape and your nervous system has not yet learned the new geography. There is a British psychologist named John Bowlby whose work, though he completed it decades ago, still sits at the heart of how we understand grief today. Bowlby spent his career studying attachment, the deep biological bonds that human beings form with one another, beginning in infancy. He showed that these bonds are not merely emotional comforts. They are wired into us. They are part of our survival system. And when an attachment bond is broken, when someone who was anchored in your nervous system as safe, as home, as known, is suddenly gone, the system responds as it was always designed to respond. It searches, it protests, it aches. The yearning that comes with grief, the pull toward the person who is no longer there, is not weakness. It is not pathology. It is your nervous system doing exactly what it evolved to do. Seeking the person who meant safety, who meant belonging, who meant the world made sense. Understanding this doesn't make the aching stop, but perhaps it makes it a little more possible to be gentle with yourself for feeling it. Because grief is not only something that happens in the mind, it is worth spending some time with what it does to the body. And if you are exhausted tonight, genuinely, deeply, bone-tired in a way that sleep doesn't seem to touch, there may be more going on beneath the surface than you realize. When you lose someone, your body registers it as a threat, not a metaphorical threat, a real one, at the level of your most ancient biological systems. The part of your nervous system that evolved to respond to danger does not distinguish between a predator and a profound loss. Both feel to the body like a rupture in safety, and so it responds accordingly. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, a long name for the body's central stress response system, becomes activated. Hormones flood the bloodstream. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, rises. Adrenaline follows. The heart beats faster. The muscles tense. The body prepares for something, though there is nothing to run from and nothing to fight. This is why, in the early days of grief, some people describe feeling strangely alert, almost wired, even while being utterly exhausted. The body is on high alert, scanning for a threat it cannot locate, burning energy in the process. And the cortisol doesn't simply spike and then return to its normal levels. Research has shown that in bereaved individuals, cortisol can remain elevated for months, in some cases for at least 6 months after a loss. 6 months of your body living in a mild but persistent state of emergency. 6 months of systems that were designed for short bursts of stress being asked to run continuously, like an engine left idling. This has consequences that reach into every corner of your physical life. The immune system, for instance, is profoundly affected. The body's ability to fight infection becomes compromised. The numbers of certain immune cells, lymphocytes, natural killer cells, the quiet soldiers of your internal defense, can drop. The antibody response to vaccines weakens. Inflammation, which is the immune system's blunt instrument, can rise systemically, causing a low-grade physical discomfort that is hard to name and harder to trace. There is a study from the University of Arizona that found something that may sound stark, but is worth understanding clearly. The loss of a life partner can increase the risk of early death by around 40%. Not because grief is a punishment, but because the body, under sustained stress, becomes vulnerable. The immune system falters. The systems that keep us well are quietly overwhelmed. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to help you understand why grief feels so physical. Why your chest genuinely aches. Why your body genuinely hurts. Why the tiredness you feel is not ordinary tiredness. The brain processes the pain of grief through many of the same neural pathways it uses to process physical pain. There is a region of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, a curved structure that sits deep within the folds of the brain, involved in regulating both emotion and the sensation of pain. During grief, this region becomes highly active. The heartbreak you feel is not just a metaphor, it is, in a very real neurological sense, pain. The broken heart syndrome, as it is sometimes called, is not poetic license, it is biology. And then there is what grief does to the brain's reward system. Deep within the brain there is a small structure called the nucleus accumbens, which is part of the circuitry that governs desire, seeking, and reward. In grief, this system continues to search for the person who has been lost. It keeps sending out signals of longing. It keeps expecting them to appear. This is the neuroscience behind that terrible recurring moment of reaching for someone who is no longer there, the reflex that hasn't yet learned the new reality. The brain is not being cruel. It is simply doing what it does, seeking what it loves. And the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for focus, planning, decision-making, and clear thought, often becomes quieter during grief, less active, less available. This is where the phenomenon sometimes called grief brain comes from. That fog, that forgetfulness, that inability to concentrate, that sense of moving through the world as though through water, you are not losing your mind. The part of your brain that handles executive function has been dimmed by the sheer metabolic weight of what the rest of the brain is processing. If you have been struggling to think clearly, if you have forgotten things, lost track of conversations, found yourself standing in rooms with no memory of why you walked into them, if decisions feel impossible and time feels strange and you cannot quite remember what you did 3 days ago, it has a neurological basis. And it will, with time, ease. If you are here tonight, lying in the quiet, unable to rest, then this chapter is perhaps the one that speaks most directly to where you are right now. Grief and sleep are deeply and unhappily entangled. The research is quite clear on this. Among people experiencing what is sometimes called complicated grief, grief that is particularly intense or prolonged, somewhere between 90 and 91% report significant sleep problems. 90%. That is almost everyone. Difficulty falling asleep, waking repeatedly through the night, lying in the early hours with thoughts that will not quiet, dreams that are vivid and sometimes raw. And the reasons are woven into everything we've already explored. The cortisol that floods the body in grief is, among its many effects, directly antagonistic to sleep. Cortisol is a waking hormone. It is designed to rise in the morning and fall at night, allowing the sleep-promoting systems to take over. But when grief keeps cortisol elevated throughout the day and into the evening, that natural rhythm is disrupted. The body does not know that it is safe to rest. The amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system, a small almond-shaped structure that sits deep in the temporal lobe, becomes overactive in grief. It is, in ordinary circumstances, the part of the brain that flags threat and danger, that keeps one ear open for sounds in the dark, that maintains a quiet background vigilance. In grief, this system is running hotter than usual. Anxiety rises. Hypervigilance settles in. The mind stays alert even when the body is desperate for sleep. And then there are the thoughts themselves, the ones that arrive most reliably at 2 in the morning when the rest of the world is quiet and there is nothing to distract from them. The future that keeps arriving, uninvited, in all its altered shape. Serotonin, one of the brain's key mood-regulating chemicals, often drops during grief. So does dopamine, the chemical of motivation, of pleasure, of the small satisfactions that make ordinary life feel worthwhile. When these drop, anxiety rises and sleep becomes harder still. The mind that would ordinarily settle into the comfortable blankness of pre-sleep restlessness instead stays active, circling, searching. And yet, here is something worth holding on to. Sleep is also one of the most important things the grieving mind can do. During sleep, and particularly during REM sleep, the dreaming phase, the brain does something remarkable. It processes emotion. It takes the raw, jagged experiences of the day and begins to work on them, filing, integrating, softening the sharp edges. Memory consolidation happens in sleep. Emotional regulation is restored, at least partially, by the work that the sleeping brain quietly performs. This is why poor sleep makes grief harder. When sleep is disrupted, the brain is denied the very process it needs to begin adapting to loss. The grief stays rawer, the emotions stay closer to the surface, the exhaustion deepens the pain, and the pain deepens the exhaustion. It becomes a cycle that can be very difficult to step out of. You may have noticed this in yourself. The days when sleep has been worst are often the days when the grief feels most overwhelming, most physical, most close. This is not coincidence. It is the brain, depleted of its nightly restoration, struggling to hold what it is being asked to hold. There is also something worth knowing about the dreams that come with grief. Many people who are bereaved report vivid dreams of the person they have lost, sometimes comforting, sometimes distressing, sometimes so real upon waking that the loss has to be rediscovered all over again in those first fragile moments of consciousness. This is the brain doing its slow, patient work of learning a new reality. It is not always gentle, but it is meaningful. The dreaming mind is not tormenting you. It is processing, in the only language it has. One researcher whose work sits quietly at the heart of modern grief science is Mary Frances O'Connor, a neuroscientist at the University of Arizona. In 2003, her team conducted what was the first neuroimaging study of grief, looking inside the living brain as it processed loss. And what she and her colleagues have continued to explore in the years since is a perspective that is, in its own way, quietly hopeful. The grief is a form of learning. Not learning in the classroom sense, not acquiring facts or skills, but learning in the deepest neurological sense, the brain gradually, through experience and time, updating its model of the world, learning over and over again in 100 small daily moments that the world has changed, that the person is gone, that life continues, and that continuing is possible. This learning takes time. It cannot be hurried. The brain adapts at its own pace through its own processes, many of which happen in sleep. Every morning that you wake and face the day, every moment of reaching for someone and then remembering, every dream, however raw, these are all, in their way, the brain doing its work. And this is why being gentle with yourself, why rest and quiet, and the patient kindness of a night like this matters more than it might seem. Perhaps the most important thing to understand about grief is that it is yours, not in a possessive, isolating way, but in the sense that it takes the shape of your particular love, your particular loss, your particular life. There is no correct way to grieve. This has been one of the quieter revolutions in how grief is understood, a gradual moving away from the idea that there is a right path through it, a proper sequence of emotions, a prescribed timeline at the end of which you should be finished. Sigmund Freud, who was the first to write about grief as a subject worthy of serious study, in an essay called Mourning and Melancholia, published in 1917, proposed that the work of grief involved gradually detaching emotional energy from the deceased and redirecting it into the world. He imagined it as a kind of internal labor, slow, effortful, eventually complete. But even Freud acknowledged that this process was never entirely finished. And the decades of research that followed have largely confirmed what most grieving people already know. Intuitively, you do not stop loving the person you have lost. You do not detach. You do not complete grief and move beyond it as though it were a project with a final deadline. What you do over time is find a way to carry it. The weight does not disappear, but you grow stronger around it, or you find new ways to hold it, or the shape of it slowly changes from something jagged into something that fits more gently within the life you are still living. There is a model of grief developed in 1999 by two researchers named Margaret Strober and Henk Schut that has, for many people, felt truer to the actual lived experience than the 5-stage model. They called it the dual process model, and its central image is one of oscillation, of moving back and forth between two different orientations. On one side is what they called loss orientation, turning toward the grief, engaging with it, feeling it, processing it. This is the crying, the remembering, the sitting with the absence. On the other side is what they called restoration, orientation, turning back toward life, attending to practical matters, adapting to new roles, finding moments of distraction or even pleasure. What they observed was that healthy grieving involves moving between these two states, not staying locked in one or the other, but oscillating, allowing yourself to feel the loss deeply and then also allowing yourself to return to the ordinary rhythms of living. Both are necessary. Neither is a betrayal of the other. The days when you laugh at something or feel genuinely absorbed in a task or notice something beautiful, these are not disloyal to the person you have lost. They are not evidence that you love them less. They are the restoration side of grief doing its quiet and necessary work. And the days when it floods back, when it feels as raw as it did at the beginning, when you thought you were doing better and then suddenly you are not. These are not regression. They are not failure. They are the loss orientation side, returning as it needs to, demanding to be felt again for a while. Both are grief. Both are real. Both are yours. There is something else worth saying gently for anyone who has been carrying the weight of how their grief looks to others. Grief does not have a correct appearance. Some people cry often, visibly, openly. Others feel a strange numbness for weeks or months, a kind of suspended unreality, and wonder if something is wrong with them for not weeping. Some feel anger, sudden, fierce, directed at the person who left, or at the circumstances, or at the world for continuing on so indifferently. Some feel relief, particularly after a long illness, and then feel guilty for feeling relieved. All of these are grief. The numbness is grief. The anger is grief. The relief is grief. The laughter at a funeral is grief. The inability to throw away a jar of jam because they liked that brand. That, too, is grief. There is also something in the research that is, in its way, quietly remarkable. Some researchers have found that what can look like deep processing of grief, the replaying, the ruminating, the circling back over the same thoughts again and again, can sometimes function not as a way of moving through grief, but as a way of avoiding the full force of it, as though the mind, finding the direct experience too vast, keeps circling the edge of it, rather than passing through the center. This is not a criticism. It is simply an observation about how the mind protects itself. And it suggests something gentle, that sometimes what helps is not more thinking, but a different kind of presence. A softer engagement. A willingness to simply feel what is there without trying to understand or resolve or explain it. Which is, perhaps, why you are here tonight. Because sometimes what grief needs, at the end of a long day, is not more words or more thinking or more effort. Sometimes what it needs is simply to be held in a quiet space with some gentle company for a little while. You have been carrying something heavy. It is allowed to be heavy. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to not have it figured out, to not know what stage you're in or whether you're grieving correctly or when it will ease. You are allowed to simply be here in this moment, in this bed, with this weight, and to let that be enough for tonight. In a moment, we are going to move into something a little different. The words will slow. The space between them will widen. We are going to gently set down the understanding, all the science, all the history, all the careful explanation, and simply be present together with what is. A guided meditation follows from here. Not to fix anything, not to take the grief away. It cannot be taken, and you would not want it to be, because it is made of love, but to offer your body and your mind a softer place to rest within it, to help the nervous system ease just slightly from its long vigil, to let the night be a little more gentle than the day was. You don't need to do anything except stay where you are. You have already come so far tonight. Just by being here, just by lying down and letting yourself be still, you have done something kind for yourself. Something gentle. Something that matters. And maybe your heart feels a little heavier than usual tonight. Maybe there is something you are carrying that has no easy name. A loss. An absence. The particular ache of missing someone or something that was dear to you. That is okay. You do not have to set it aside or push it away. You do not have to pretend it is not there. Grief is allowed to be here with you tonight. It does not have to leave before you can rest. It does not have to be resolved or understood or finished before your body is allowed to soften. You can carry it gently, the way you might carry something fragile, and still find your way into sleep. So let yourself arrive here, now, in this moment. Feel the surface beneath you. The bed, the pillow, the weight of your own body settling downward. Notice how the ground beneath you is already holding you. You do not have to hold yourself up. You never have to when you are lying here like this. The earth is doing that for you. Let your arms rest where they are. Let your legs grow still. Let your eyes remain closed, or let them close now if they have not yet. You are safe here. This is a soft place, a quiet place, a place where nothing is asked of you except to let go, just a little, just as much as you are able. And that is more than enough. Take a moment to notice how your body feels right now, not to judge it, not to fix anything, just to notice. Maybe there is tightness somewhere. Maybe there is a heaviness in your chest, a kind of pressure that has been sitting there through the day. Maybe your shoulders are drawn in, just slightly, as if protecting something tender. That is all right. All of it is all right. Grief lives in the body. It is not only a feeling of the mind, it settles into the muscles, into the jaw, into the place behind the eyes. It makes itself at home in places you do not always notice. And tonight, one of the most healing things you can do is simply let your body know that it is safe to rest, that it does not have to hold so tightly, that it can soften here, in the dark, in the quiet. You do not have to do anything with the grief tonight. You do not have to process it or understand it or move through it in any particular way. You only have to lie here and breathe and let your body slowly, slowly begin to release. That is all. That is the whole invitation. So let us begin with the breath. You do not need to change it. You do not need to breathe in any special way. Just notice that you are already breathing. Your body has been doing this the whole time, quietly, faithfully, without any effort from you at all. In and out. Feel the breath as it comes in, a gentle expansion somewhere in your chest or your belly, a soft rising. And then the long, slow fall as you breathe out, a releasing, a letting go. Just notice that. The breath in, the breath out. And if your mind wanders, if thoughts come, if memories surface or feelings stir, that is completely natural. You do not need to push any of it away. Simply notice and then let your attention drift back softly to the breath, like a leaf drifting back to still water after a ripple has passed through. Back to the breath. The gentle rise, the gentle fall. There is nothing you need to figure out right now. There is nothing you need to decide or remember or hold on to. Just this. Just the breath. Just this moment, and then this one, and then this one. Let the breath be a little slower now. Not forced, just allowed, as if the exhale is just a little longer than it needs to be, as if you are breathing out just a little more than you breathe in, releasing just a little more with every breath. That is it. That is exactly it. Breathe in slowly, gently, and breathe out, letting something go. Not everything, just a little. Just what is ready to be released. And again. A slow breath in, and a long, quiet breath out. Let your whole body soften just a little more with every exhale, as if the breath is carrying something away, as if each breath out is gently lifting a small piece of the weight you have been carrying and floating it away into the dark, into the quiet. You are doing beautifully. Just keep breathing. Now we're going to move through your body very slowly, from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. And as we visit each part of you, I am simply going to invite it to soften, to let go, to rest. You do not have to do anything. Just listen and let your body respond in its own way, in its own time. Begin at the very top of your head, the scalp, the crown. That wide open space at the top of you. Notice if there is any tightness there, any tension that has gathered across the scalp through the long day. And as you breathe out now, just let it soften. Let the scalp grow loose and easy. Let the skin there relax, spreading gently outward as if your whole head is growing wider and heavier and more at rest. That is it. Just let the top of your head rest. Now bring your awareness down to your forehead, that wide, smooth space between your eyebrows. Grief and worry and sadness often gather here. A tightening, a furrowing, a kind of holding. And you've been carrying so much. So breathe out now and let the forehead smooth. Let it grow soft and still. Let all the lines and creases gently release. Let the space between your eyebrows widen just a little. Let the skin of your forehead grow cool and calm and quiet. There is nothing to worry about right now. There is nothing to figure out. Let your forehead know that it is safe to rest. Now, your eyes, your beautiful, tired eyes. Let them rest gently behind your closed lids. Let the muscles around your eyes go soft. The little muscles at the corners, the ones beneath your eyes, the ones above. All of them can let go now. Let your eyes be still and heavy and dark. Let them sink just a little deeper into rest. Your cheeks, your nose, all the small muscles of your face that hold expression, that hold feeling, that have been working so hard today. Let them all go loose now. Let your face become soft and open, like the face of someone who is already deeply asleep. Peaceful. And now your jaw. The jaw holds so much. It holds words that were not said. It holds the effort of getting through hard moments. It holds tension that you may not even have known was there. So breathe out now, slowly, and let your jaw fall open just the tiniest amount. Let your teeth part just slightly. Let the muscles along your jaw grow warm and heavy and loose. You do not have to clench anything tonight. You do not have to brace against anything. Let your jaw be soft. Let it rest. Your mouth. Your lips. Slightly parted, soft, at ease, not holding any particular expression, just resting, just still. Now your throat. That tender place. Grief often lives here too, in the tightening of the throat, in the effort of holding back tears or holding back words. And tonight you do not have to hold anything back, but you also do not have to do anything at all. Just let your throat soften. Let it open just a little. Let there be ease there, warmth, a gentle loosening. Breathe through it. Let the breath pass through your throat like a warm, quiet river. Smooth and easy and unhurried. Now your neck. The back of your neck, the sides. All the muscles that have been holding your head up through the day, carrying the weight of everything. Let them soften now. Let your head grow heavy against the pillow. Let your neck sink down, release, rest. You do not need to hold your head up anymore. The pillow is doing that. The earth is doing that. Let your neck be free. It's your shoulders. Oh, your shoulders. If there is one place where grief and sorrow and the weight of loss settle in the body, it is here. The shoulders that have been drawn up just slightly, as if bracing, as if protecting the heart, as if carrying something invisible but very, very heavy. Breathe in. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, let your shoulders drop. Let them fall away from your ears, away from your neck, down toward the bed. Let them sink. Let them spread wide and heavy and still. Let all of that invisible weight simply slide off like water off a stone. You do not have to carry it in your shoulders tonight. Let them rest. Let them be warm and heavy and completely at ease. Your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, let them grow heavy now, sinking into the bed, into the warmth, heavy and still. Let your arms feel as if they are made of something warm and dense and perfectly at rest, as if they could not move even if you wanted them to. That heaviness is rest. That heaviness is your body releasing. Your hands. Your fingers. Let your hands fall open just a little. Let your fingers uncurl. There is nothing to hold on to right now, nothing to grip. Let your hands be soft and open and still. Let the warmth spread through your palms, into each finger, all the way to the tips. Your hands have done so much. They can rest now. Now bring your awareness to your chest. The chest where the heart lives, where grief often lives too, that specific ache, that hollow feeling, that tightness that comes and goes without warning. And I want you to know that your heart is allowed to feel what it feels. You do not have to make it feel differently. You do not have to be further along than you are, or less sad than you are, or more okay than you are. But tonight, just for now, just in this moment, can you let the muscles of your chest soften just a little? Not the feeling, just the muscles. The tightness that the body holds around the feeling. Let the chest grow wide and open and soft. Let it expand with the breath in and release with the breath out. Your heart is strong. It has been carrying so much, and it will keep carrying what it needs to carry. But the muscles around it, the chest, the ribs, the space between the ribs, those can soften, those can rest. Breathe into your chest. Let it be wide and warm and gently open. And breathe out. Releasing. Letting go of just a little more. Your belly. Let your belly be soft. So many of us hold our bellies tight, braced, pulled in. And grief can make the belly feel knotted, unsettled, turned over. But right now, as you lie here in the dark, let your belly be completely soft. Let it rise and fall with the breath. Let it be warm and loose and at ease. Let your whole middle body soften. The stomach, the sides, the space beneath the ribs, all of it growing warm and still and heavy with rest. Your lower back, that long, curved space that supports so much. Let it sink down into the bed now. Let it release any tension it has been holding. Let the muscles there grow warm and loose, spreading out beneath you, releasing into the warmth of the surface that holds you. You are supported, completely supported, from beneath and all around. Your hips, the wide bowl of the pelvis. Let it grow heavy. Let it sink. Let it rest. There is nothing you need to do with your hips or your lower body right now. Just let them be heavy and warm and still. like stones settling slowly to the bottom of a still, warm lake. Your thighs, the long muscles of your legs, let them grow heavy now, soft and warm and dense with rest. Let them sink into the bed. Let them spread just a little, releasing. Heavy and still and at ease. Your knees. That complicated joint, just let it soften. Let there be no effort there at all. Your calves. The backs of your legs. Let them grow warm and heavy. Let them melt into the bed. Let any last tension there simply dissolve away, like morning mist in gentle warmth. Your ankles. Your feet, the soles of your feet, the heels, the arches. Let them go completely soft. Let your feet fall open just a little, tipping outward. Let them be warm and heavy and still. And let the very tips of your toes be the last place that releases. Let the toes uncurl just a little. Let them be soft and warm and completely at ease. Your whole body now, from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes, is soft and heavy and still. You are held by the bed, by the earth, by the quiet dark around you. You are completely supported. There is nothing to hold and nothing to brace against and nothing to do. Just rest. And now, very gently, I want to invite you somewhere. Not far. Not anywhere that requires any effort at all. Just a soft place that your mind can wander toward, like a dream that is already beginning. Imagine that it is evening. A warm, still evening. And you are outside, somewhere quiet and beautiful and completely safe. A place that feels as if it was made just for you. Maybe it is a garden, overgrown and lush and fragrant, with soft grass underfoot. Maybe it is the edge of a forest, where the trees stand tall and still and ancient. Maybe it is beside a body of water, a lake, a river, a quiet sea, where the surface is smooth and the sound of the water is low and constant and kind. Wherever you find yourself, let it feel safe. Let it feel soft. Let the air there be warm but not too warm, a gentle temperature, exactly right for your skin. Let there be just the faintest movement of air, not a wind, just a breath, a stirring, something alive and gentle. You are alone here, but not lonely. The space around you is full of a quiet, warm presence, as if the trees or the water or the evening sky itself is aware of you and glad that you are here and asking nothing of you at all. You can sit, or you can lie down on the soft ground. Let the earth beneath you be warm. Let the grass or the moss or the soft soil receive your weight completely. Let yourself sink into it just a little, the way you sink into a bed that is perfectly made for you. The light here is low and golden. The kind of light that comes just after the sun has gone below the horizon, when the sky still holds a warmth, a glow, a gentleness. The kind of light that makes everything look softer and kinder and more at peace. And in this place, you can feel the grief with you. It is allowed to be here. But here, in this soft evening light, it feels different. It feels less like a weight and more like a presence, less like something crushing and more like something tender. The grief here is the shape of love. It is the outline of what mattered. And it is allowed to be here, quietly, gently, without asking anything of you. You do not have to hold it. You do not have to carry it. It can simply be near you, the way a gentle companion might sit quietly beside you in the evening, not saying anything, just being there. Dull weight, and you can breathe. Breathe in the evening air of this place. Let it be cool and clean and faintly sweet. Let it fill your lungs slowly, gently. And breathe out. A long, slow breath into the evening, a releasing into the soft air. And again. Breathe in, taking in the peace of this place, the stillness, the safety. And breathe out, letting the day go, letting the effort go, letting the holding go. Each breath carries something away. Each exhale releases a little more of the tension that has been living in your body. And the evening air recedes it all without judgment, without weight, simply taking it and dissolving it into the vast, soft sky. Above you, if you look up, the first stars are beginning to appear. Just one or two at first, very faint, very far away. Small points of light in the deepening blue. And as you watch, more appear. Slowly, gently, the sky filling with that ancient, quiet light. There is something about stars that makes the personal feel smaller in the kindest way. Not smaller as in unimportant, but smaller as in held, as in part of something so vast and so old and so quietly continuing that your own pain, as real and as true as it is also held within something larger, something that has seen all of this before. Something that continues and continues and continues. You are not alone in having loved and lost. You are not alone in carrying grief. Every human being who has ever lived under these stars has known this ache, and somehow that does not make it easier, but it makes it less lonely. You are held in a long, long line of people who have loved deeply and grieved deeply and still found their way to rest. You can rest too. Let your eyes grow heavy now. Even in this imagined place, let your eyes grow soft and heavy. Let the stars blur just a little at the edges. Let the golden light grow softer and dimmer and more like the inside of a dream. You are sinking, slowly, gently, warmly sinking. The earth beneath you is warm and soft and infinitely patient. It is receiving your weight completely. There is no effort in this. There is no falling. It is only the sweetest, gentlest settling downward. Heavier and heavier. Warmer and warmer, softer and softer. Your body is made of warmth and heaviness and rest. There is nothing sharp in you right now. There is nothing braced or held or clenched. You are open and soft and sinking and still. The grief is here, but it is quiet. It has sat down beside you and grown still. It is not asking anything of you tonight. It knows that you need to rest. It is letting you rest. And somewhere in the warm dark, you can feel that the people or the things you have loved and lost are not entirely gone. They are changed. They are different. They are not here in the way they used to be. But love does not disappear. Love is not made of flesh or voice or presence alone. It is something that persists. It is something that lives in you, in the way you move through the world, in the things you value, in the quiet moments when you feel it and do not know why. They are woven into you. And that is a kind of keeping. A kind of continuing. You carry them gently, and they would want you to rest. So let the thoughts grow quiet now. Let them come if they come, like leaves drifting past on a slow, dark river. And let them go. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to hold them or examine them or figure anything out from them. Just let them drift. Let them pass. A thought comes, and it goes. Another thought, and it goes. You are not your thoughts tonight. You are only the warm, still, heavy body lying here in the dark, breathing slowly, drifting. The river carries everything away, gently, without urgency, without effort. You only have to lie here and breathe and let the current do what currents do. Your breath is very slow now, very soft, the chest barely rising, the belly barely moving, just a gentle tide, in and out, in and out. Each breath out is a little deeper into rest. Each breath out is a little further from waking. You are moving through the soft border between waking and sleep. That warm, hazy place where the world grows less distinct and the body grows heavier and the mind begins to do its own dreaming. Let yourself move into that space. You are safe there. You are held there. Nothing can reach you there that you do not wish to find. Only rest. Only warmth. Only the soft, dark quiet. The garden, the forest, the evening water, it is all growing dimmer now. The golden light is fading into something deeper, something darker, something that is not darkness, like emptiness, but darkness like velvet, like the inside of something warm and enclosed and safe. The stars are still there, very far away. Very faint, like the last few thoughts that drift through your mind before sleep takes you. Faint and far and still. Your body is completely still now, heavy and warm and sinking. Each breath is slower than the last. Each breath is carrying you a little further down. Down into rest, down into the soft, warm dark, down into the place where the body heals and the mind grows quiet and the heart is allowed to be still. You have done enough today. You have felt enough. You have held enough. You are allowed to put it all down now, just for tonight. You can pick it up again tomorrow if you need to. But tonight, it can rest beside you, quiet and still. And you can rest too. The grief knows you love it. It knows you have not forgotten. It does not need you to stay awake to prove that you care. It will be there in the morning, changed perhaps, a little softer perhaps, a little more familiar. But tonight it is resting too. Tonight everything is resting. The trees are still. The water is still. The sky is deep and dark and full of that ancient quiet light. And you are here, warm and heavy and still and safe, breathing slowly, softly. Let the last thoughts go. Let the last traces of the day dissolve. Let the warmth hold you. Let the dark hold you. Let the quiet hold you. You are safe. You are loved. You are resting. Breathing out. Drifting. Gone.